Welcome back to another episode of the Vision Hunters podcast. I'm your host, Cody Story, and this is episode number 14, the Alpha Underdog with a Vivid Vision of the Future with Zach Babcock. Now, real quick, before we get into today's show, new episodes of the Vision Hunters podcast are released every Wednesday on Spotify and Apple Podcast, or you can watch the episodes on my Cody Story YouTube channel. The spelling there is CODYSTOREY. As far as today's show goes, I've been following Zach Babcock for a few years now, and I was really honored to have him on the show as a guest. He's been a real inspiration of mine because he's gone against the grain, he's defied all the odds, and he has proved all those who have doubted him dead wrong. He's a dedicated man of character with a crystal clear vision of his future, and I'm thoroughly impressed by his ability to lift up other underdog entrepreneurs while he lives out his legacy. So if you're looking to launch, grow, and monetize a top shelf passive income business and personal brand, then give this episode a listen. Some of the things that you will hear in today's episode are the Cliff Notes version of how Zach went from serving 5 years in prison to building underdog empowerment and alpha underdogs. How Zach's sweat equity and pure hustle supported building the foundation of his vision. Why a vision without commitment and action is just a bunch of grandiose ideas. The ways in which Zach and his team help other underdog entrepreneurs become the most alpha version of themselves. Zach's deep gratitude for those who have gone before him and who have mentored him and helped him out in turning his vision into his reality. Why a man's internal work isn't for the weak, nor is it for the faint of heart. It is the hardest work you will ever do in your life. Why healing past traumas and addressing the negative programs is the real work. Why it's so important to define what winning means to you. Let me repeat that. Why it's so important to define what winning means to you. How to get crystal clear on your vision. The legacy Zach is building for his family and for other alpha underdogs wanting to level up. And of course, there is way more than that, as usual. But of course, you're going to have to listen to episode number 14 with Zach Babcock. Alrighty, folks, it is time to dive in. I got a super duper special guest with us today. He's the host of the extremely successful brand and podcast Underdog Empowerment. However, word on the street, folks, is that he's taking his brand to a whole other level and rebranding it to Alpha Underdogs. Zach, welcome to the Vision Hunters podcast.
Yo, what's up, man? Dude, I'm super excited to be here, man. And thank you for having me, dude.
Well, thanks for taking the time to join us. Did I get that correctly? Was the word on the street right? Alpha Underdogs?
Yeah, man. So you did. So Underdog Empowerment's still going to be there, and it's still going to be its own thing. Alpha Underdog is like the evolution of Underdog Empowerment. But easiest way to explain it is it's a way of life. And it's just a set of core values and a way of life and a methodology for people to get everything that they want out of life. And it covers the whole deal, not just business. We're talking mind, body, soul, relationships, and business. All the whole package.
The whole kit and caboodles. I love it, man. It's all about evolution. And hopefully we can track some of your evolution here today. And also some of the things I want to talk about are aliens, mushrooms, podcasting, branding, and online business. And I know we have a limited amount of time. You got a hard out, so I'm going to respect that. I don't know how much of that we'll get into, but for the listeners, can you provide us with some context? Like, what's your backstory and what was life like before the podcast and before Underdog Empowerment and Alpha Underdogs?
Yeah, for sure, dude. And real quick, I can't wait to start talking about mushrooms and aliens with you. That's going to be pretty exciting.
But I figured that, man. I've been exploring that. Like, I'm an ex-drug addict, alcoholic, party enthusiast, and I got a twisted past. That's probably why I relate to you so much as far as some of the stuff you've been through. But I've been sober for about 15 years, and I've actually been exploring psychedelics since then. So I've had some pretty wild experiences and journeys. So yeah, I would love to dive in and we'll get there. But first, can you take us back to that story that I relate to so much?
Yeah, man, without a doubt, dude. So I'll give the Cliff Notes version, super high condensed. If you want to unpack more, we could do that. I'm open book, but I just want to be respectful of your time. And I don't know about you, dude, but I've asked people a question before, and then they go on and start talking for forever, and I had to like cut them off. It's like, yeah, man, let's have a dialogue here. But
yeah, Cliff Notes. I love it.
yeah, dude. So I grew up without a father, grew up in Ferguson, Missouri. And I did a lot of stuff to try to fit in with other people. And I didn't have any chief aim in life, and was just, didn't have a disciplinary figure in my life, no father figure after that. So I was just running wild. Made a lot of poor decisions, was in and out of juvenile detention centers, boys' homes, you name it, for a huge chunk of my adolescence. And then I went and did 5 years total in prison as an adult. I went away for the first time for 4 years on a 7-year sentence, got out for about 2 years, and I went back just 20 days before my twin sons were born. And that's what changed the game for me. I decided I'm moving in a completely different direction. Got out, struggled for quite a bit for like 3.5 years, and then finally broke through in business. And now we're scaling that business, which is a podcast marketing agency, and launching the Alpha Underdog brand, and just doing everything to keep on kicking ass in life, man.
Right on. Well, I want to unpack more of where you're at in the future. I mean, this is the Vision Hunters podcast. It is all about visions. And can you just also dive in a little deeper as far as your journey into the podcast world after you got out? And like when you started building Underdog Empowerment and the podcast, like how were you making money? Because for me, like to have a vision is one thing, but I also got to be able to support the vision. So what was that experience like for you? And then you can maybe transition into a little bit more of what that's like now. But how did you bring this all together?
Yeah, man. The resources that I poured into it to bring it all together was sweat equity. Honestly, I had I poured money into it, but I didn't have a lot of money in the beginning. I'd scrounge up enough money to get like this logo done, whatever. But mainly it was just the pure hustle. But yeah, dude, I got into network marketing for 2 years. Did that. That taught me a lot, but that just wasn't my thing. So I left that in beginning of 2017. Dude, just constantly failure after failure, nothing was working. And then finally, in April 2018, I launched Underdog Empowerment, got it ranked on day 3, and then had Billie Jean as marketing on the show on day 4. And I mean, dude, I got the podcast set up for less than $100. Then went and figured it out how to get it launched on my own, would do a bunch of different YouTube videos and research, and got it up, man. And when I had that, what was crazy though, man, is that before that, anytime I tried to collaborate with other people, nobody like wanted to jam with me. They were laughing at me. I was the ex-convict turned entrepreneur afterthought.
Yeah.
And that was frustrating. I was getting pissed off, dude. I'm like, damn, dude, like you're gonna judge me because I did prison time. You don't think I'm gonna go out and do stuff, whatever. But then when we had that success with launching the podcast, getting it ranked on day 3, and then having Billie Jean as marketing on the show the following week, and literally in 1 week's worth of time, I went from nobody giving me a shot to interviewing, the big dogs and stuff. So it was wild, man. And I just latched onto that and just been scaling it ever since, dude.
Okay, so yeah, like the reason I'm asking is like failure is a thing. It's real, but at the same time, I've been kind of going through this experience of reframing failure, because I have had quite a few failures in my past. However, that's just a perception. And those failures have actually become some of my greatest assets. And right now I'm in this transition. I've been in this 2-year transition. I had a business. I got to like 6 figures in the first year, whoop-dee. But I just know people throw 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, all this stuff around in the online space. But I closed it down after 8 years. So I've kind of been in this mode of like, my mind has been stuck on the negative side, like you failed, because I made the decision to close it because I was burnt out, lost interest in it. And now I'm like, okay, what am I going to do next? So I've been exploring so many different avenues. I've been in like student mode and exploration mode. And for me to move forward into the new vision, it's like I've had to also support myself in terms of like having a job. Now it's in high ticket sales. I don't know if that's going to be my thing. I just know I can do it. However, like this, what you're talking about as far as like podcast and building out a powerful brand has been on my radar, and I've pulled the plug. But it's a lot. So that sweat equity, like to me, is key. What else would you say contributed to that early stage growth? Because it sounds like you jumped in and then you had Billie Jean on your show, you got ranked, and then things took off. So what else was contributing to this type of momentum?
Yeah, so that right there was like building the brand and really establishing that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped with the money, but dude, I still hadn't like cracked the code on making money at this point. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we were making $200 to $800 a month, give or take, in affiliate marketing income that we generated through the podcast. But $200 to $800 a month ain't a lot to live on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so that part was still frustrating. And it got to the point where we were so backed up on our bills, our water was shut off, credit cards are maxed out. We got 4 kids to feed. And I went and got a title loan on my Chrysler Aspen for $4,000. Title loans, I mean, interest rates on those deals are redonkulous. And I got it just to join a mastermind at $2,000 a month to learn how to craft an offer, irresistible offer for a specific audience, and write the copy that sells that offer.
Mm-hmm.
To develop that skill set. Everybody said I was crazy, out of my mind, yada, 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 yada. But 10 months after that decision, I had a 6-figure business, you know? So,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
you know, and that goes with having that vision dialed the fuck in and crystal clear on that vision, and then being committed to making that vision happen no matter what. That's the part that most people don't have, is the commitment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I don't think that you created the podcast. I mean, obviously, you got to be able to make a profit. I mean, that's part of business. But I feel like after listening to you through the years, you have a lot of deep values, and they connect to giving back and family, and really taking care of yourself and making sure like you have something to give. So what got you to that place where you're like, you know what? I'm going to create a podcast. We're going to call it Underdog Empowerment, and we're going to build this, to me now, is a big ass brand. Like you got a lot of power and momentum behind you. So what was that like defining moment? Why the podcast world and brand world?
You know, being completely honest with you, dude, I didn't even want to do a podcast. It was something that I was putting off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was putting it off. I had a YouTube channel. I mean, I still have the YouTube channel, but I was on YouTube first, and I was doing that for almost 2 years straight before the podcast. And I was putting out 3 videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday for almost 2 years straight. That's a lot of work whenever you're doing it when you don't have no team or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just that in of itself, dude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I was doing that, and I wanted to do video because for me, I was like, man, I can connect with people more if they could see me.
Yeah.
That was my thought process. But I was going through Russell Brunson's, one of his funnel hacks masterclass courses. And it's funny even saying that now, because I make fun of the whole big funnel community.
Yeah.
But
it's all good.
I was going through one of his courses in one of the modules, and then he said in there, he was telling the story of one of his clients who was just had a rough go at finding opportunity. There's opportunities were scarce and all this, and nobody wanted to collaborate with him. But then he launched his podcast, and then all these opportunities just opened up for him, and people wanted to jam with him now. And I was like, all right, if anybody can relate to that, I know I can, because that's exactly what I'm going through at the time. You know, like nobody's giving me a shot. I said, all right, we're just gonna do it. Let's just throw that on the wall and see if it sticks. And we did. And yeah, really glad that we did, because it ended up being the thing. I never would have thought if you'd have told me 4 years ago that I'd be the podcast guy, like I would have been, oh, I don't even like podcasts. But
yeah. That's amazing, dude. I'm fucking right there with you, dude. Like, this has been a real trip for me. Like, my brother honestly has a very successful podcast, but I have never thought like, oh, I want to go and do a podcast. And then after closing my business, I did get a job, and I got laid off during the whole COVID bullshit. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like, if he can do it and he's killing it, like, let's just try this shit. And then I went and recorded like 6 episodes and I didn't do shit. I sat on them for a year and I was like, yeah, maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I'm not digging it. But I had a lot of personal stuff coming up, family stuff. So I was just like, I put it to the back burner. And then I started, getting going in a new direction, moved out to Idaho in the woods here in a nice log home and all that. But I was like, okay, once we landed here, it's time to just try this. Like you said, throw it on the wall, see if it sticks. I have no idea. I might fail, I might succeed. But I just dove in and I really don't have much of an inkling on how to pull this shit off. Like you said, the YouTube videos and everything when you're doing this on your own is a lot. Like I'm blown away. I'm doing everything. Like everything from, getting the guests to getting the guests booked. Once they're booked, sending them the email, creating emails, keeping in touch with people, getting rejected and dissed by people because I'm like, yo, I would love to do this. And they're like, nah, I'm good. You ain't got no followers. You ain't got shit. Da, 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 da. And then, record it, have to edit it, break it down, put an intro, outro, and then, go through that process over and over and over, posting it. Like, dude, it's a lot. So that's why I respect the game. I'm just like, this is a full-time job plus doing this. So I wasn't really going to just dive in, but then I just pulled the plug or pulled the trigger. And I feel like I've jumped off the cliff and now I'm flying through the air. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to pick your brain about this. So I'd love to hear, like, what are some of the things when someone comes to work with you, right? You were talking about the agency and building that out right now. If someone comes in and they work with you or they team up with you, what does that landscape look like? What are you offering in terms of maybe branding or podcasting or online business?
I just want, like, if someone comes to work for our organization or whatnot.
Like I'll put myself in those shoes. Like I'm just getting started. As I mentioned, I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. If I was to go to your website and be like, yo, I need help. This dude is a beacon, and I'm just trying to find the light because it's really noisy in the online space in terms of finding mentorship, any guidance. Like I told Mike, I was like, bro, you're a real one. And I've been looking for real ones because there is so much guru fake bullshit out there. So if I was to like hit you up and be like, yo, I'm just getting started. I want to keep moving forward. And it's a lot for me. Like I need some help keeping this ball rolling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. So what that would look like is, and I'm glad you gave me a little bit more context because it truly does matter where you're at and what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, usually we have the podcast roadmap, which is a free giveaway, a downloadable PDF. It's our lead magnet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we usually they come in through that, and that shows you, how to launch a podcast and get it up and running and operational. But we put there a CTA in the roadmap, like, okay, cool. Now you know everything you need to do to get this thing launched. But what's next? And then we go into like how most people never make it past episode 13, yada, yada, yada. And then we give a strong call to action to get all of our courses, which is 4 different podcast marketing courses for $47. Now these courses sell for $7,400 collectively, and we bundle them all together for $47 to make it a no-brainer offer. And then people get that. And then if they buy that on the same page, they can buy a $197 strategy call where we map out your 90 days and give you clear, precise action items to crush it within your first 90 days. And on that call, that's an opportunity for us to also upsell them into one of our done for you services or our group coaching program, if it makes sense, if they're the right fit or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, like that's how that process works. So if like you hit up, like I'd probably recommend, like if you came like, yeah, dude, go get that $47 offer, even if you don't even plan on going through the course material, because some people just don't do online courses or whatever. Mm-hmm. But go get that and snatch up that $197 strategy call. And just getting on that call alone, I can guarantee I'm going to help you get some really kick-ass results. We're going to be able to grow your audience, be able to produce $1,000 within the next 90 days if you just handle this stuff out. Mm-hmm. And, who knows, we might be able to help you in other areas as well. So that's what I would probably recommend in that situation.
Okay. No, I love that because when I get off the shows, I'm always like, man, we didn't really tap into what their services are or their products in terms of what they're offering. So that really, really helps give me an idea of the process. And then from there, like on that call, Are you offering like mentorship? Is it like one-on-one coaching? Do you offer group coaching? I do see you on a lot of masterminds. Are you doing your own masterminds? Is that in the future?
Yeah, man. No doubt. So I do offer consulting. I try not to do it as much as possible. That's why I charge $10,000 for 2 hours.
Mm.
And I know it's only serious people that are coming to play for that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy though, because I actually like that more because, dude, I consulted for way less than that, and it's the people that pay the 10K, they get the most out of it because they're invested and they're gonna like cling on to every word and they're like gonna actually go do it. Yes, we do offer that, but not trying to book up my entire schedule with that because I got other shit I want to do. Yeah, man. On that call though, so we had the group coaching, which that's only 1,500 for 5 weeks. So it's like you could do it in a group with other people, so it's more scalable and you get it for way cheaper. And you're going to get our production service bundled with that for that 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Or, we could work directly one-on-one, but it's going to be, 10K for 2 hours or whatnot.
Which brings me to like mentorship. What's that been like on your entrepreneurial journey as far as getting mentors? I see you at a lot of masterminds, or I have at least through the years. So who are your most influential mentors, and what's that process been like as far as linking up with other people who have gone before you?
Yeah, man. Dude, I don't even know where to begin, dude. Like mentorship, dude, without that, like it's helped me literally probably shave off years of trying to figure this shit out by myself. And just help me fast track it, because like at the end of the day, yeah, you got everything inside you. You don't to be everything you need to be. Literally, you don't need mentors. Honestly, you don't need them to become you, but the right mentors will help you get there a lot faster. And so if you value time like I do, and you're trying to, do some really legendary shit before you go, mentors are a great route. And it's funny because early on I made a lot of bad investments. I didn't know how to invest the right way, and I got a bunch of people that were just bullshit, right? And they didn't know what they're doing. But I'm grateful because that's the exact thing that helped me develop the skill of identifying legit shit, and so I had to learn it, and so it was a learning experience for me. But yeah, dude, some of the greatest mentors, like, dude, one of my first masterminds that I broke through in was Mitch Miller, his mastermind, and probably one of the best investments I made for myself business wise ever. You know what I'm saying? Like I broke through the most in there. Been in Arte, Syndicate, Apex, you name it. But yeah, man, getting around the right people that can help you get to where you need to go, that's powerful.
Now, as far as like personal development, I've been listening to some of your episodes. Like, where are you at personally as far as growth and growing inside? And I guess we could even start to attach that to the mushrooms, so we can get into the psychedelic journey. How's that been helping you as far as personally, maybe, and then also even entrepreneurially?
Yeah, man, dude, I'm excited to talk about this. So real quick, anything that we're about to talk about with this is not medical advice. I ain't held responsible for any of it.
Yep.
I'm not telling you to go do no mushrooms or nothing. Like, go consult a medical professional, because I'm not that person. All right, this is just me sharing my experience. That's all it is. Had to get that out there.
Disclaimer, baby. Get that one out the way right now. We are not giving you advice or telling you what to do, folks. This is just sharing one's experience. That's it.
Yeah, amen, dude. This year, dude, personal growth like never before, man. And that's also resulted in the business growth, because when you work on yourself, the business grows. I'm finally understanding what it truly means to go to work harder on yourself than you do on the business. And man, I tell you what, this year's it's been kick-ass, man, because I've finally stepped away and really taken time to take care of me, which is something I haven't done before this year. But yeah, dude, I'm focused on right now is healing traumas and shit that's happened throughout my life that are running negative programs, throughout my life, So for an example, like, dude, I discovered through microdosing mushrooms and stuff that I put up these walls and these barriers, and I'm not even affectionate with my wife and shit because I'm scared of losing people, because I lost all my immediate family members, my original immediate family members, my mom, dad, and sister all died. And so like I started putting up these walls because I was scared to to get close to people, because I was scared of losing them.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to me or anybody else, that my loved ones. So shit like that, dude. There's stuff that happens to you that's traumatic that you don't want to remember, so like you suppress it and like don't even remember it and shit, dude. Dude, I was just talking with a friend that I was in prison with. He got out and he's doing really good now, and I literally buy my produce from him because that's his business or whatnot, and I get really good food from him. But he was like, because I both times when I was getting out prison, the when I was in prison, I got out 2 different times. I went to the hold about 6 days before I was getting out, because my cellie had a shank both times. And if you got a shank in prison, they can add more to your sentence. Like they can give you another case. And so here I am, 60 days, getting ready to get out, and then I get jammed up because my cellie gets caught with a shank in the cell. And so we're both under investigation now. And the second time, Paul was in there with me, and he's like, "Yeah, you remember?" But I was like, "Dude, I don't even remember who my cellie was. But what did he look like? What was his name? I don't even remember a dude that I was living with in the cell, because it was like so traumatic. Because I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to go home to my kids now, and crazy shit like that though. But this shit though that we're talking about, this is a lot of men say it's weak to talk about shit like this, or they feel uncomfortable, but this is the shit that most people are scared shitless of. It's the hardest work that you'll ever do in your life, harder than any business goal you'll ever set for yourself. The hardest shit you could possibly do. And that's why people are scared shitless of it. So it doesn't make you weak to do this. It actually shows a strength of character to go and face your demons. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do in life, and it's the most rewarding as well.
And it's so trippy that that's how it's viewed in our culture. Like that was the same environment I grew up in. Like that's straight up weakness. You don't do that stuff. You don't talk about that stuff with people you know. If I do, I'm just putting myself in a bad position, right? To get to be taken advantage of. So it was like put those walls up, protect myself, and shut down. But that is also, after I left a different life, it's been carried into this life of, as I've been trying to heal, but it does have layers. And I feel like I got to keep going deeper. And I relate to what you said as far as that relationship. Like it started affecting me and my fiance, and I've had to really, even the past week, I got on a call, even with a therapist, and he was like, dude, you're living in survival mode. Once I closed the business down, like I've just been in fight or flight, and I didn't even realize it. He was just like, do you even enjoy life? And I was just like, damn, dude just went deep right to the gut. And I was like, man, I've been having a really hard time with that actually. And then, what he wanted me to start doing was letting go, lighten the fuck up, start enjoying life again, and start getting back and enjoying the people in your life. And I just had a big wake up call. And that was literally like a week ago in terms of like relationships. And I had a similar thing, going as far as putting those walls up and protecting myself, making distance, and really being in grind mode. And you've been talking about that as far as your schedule and balancing your life with your family, and then, your work life and that stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, man, that's the direction I want to keep aiming, is making sure that I'm taking care of myself. And it does come down to how I utilize my time and who I hang out with. So let's get really serious for a second. I got to know, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no way that they're not real.
Uh-huh.
They gotta be real.
There's something going on. There's got to be something else out there. But no, I heard you talking about aliens in another show, and I was just like, oh, dude, we got to bring that up. We don't have to go deep into outer space. So we'll come back down to Earth. I'd love to talk clarity with you, because on my show with Mike Young 2 weeks ago, which was super fun, during that recording, he really drilled down into the importance of having clarity. And I know you talked a little bit about that before we got started here today. He said clarity comes through action. And I would love to hear, like, what's your take on clarity? And I know you've been speaking lately in terms of figuring out what winning means to you. So what does that mean to you? And like, why is that so damn important?
Man, so you're asking the great questions over there, man, because I'm getting fired up now.
I hope so.
Dude, that right there, defining what the fuck winning means to you, I think it's probably the most important thing you'll ever do in your life. All right. Because check this out. If you do shit that doesn't make you happy and it makes you miserable, not only are you going to be miserable, but when you come into contact with all your loved ones, it's not going to be a good experience for them as well. And so if you take care of yourself and you get clear on what winning means to you, not the definition, someone else's definition of winning, your definition. So like, you know, somebody's definition, they might be a car fanatic and love cars and they want to build this business and have all the exotic Lambos and Ferraris and all that. But for me, dude, that would not be winning to me because I don't give a fuck about cars. You know, like I'm not saying that I wouldn't drive a Lambo. It'd be cool. I fucking drive it, but I don't geek out over that type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got to define what winning means to you, man, because you can't win the game if you don't even want to be in that game. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get clear on that, on what winning means to you, and you become committed to winning, bro, that's what happiness is. That's the happiness comes from the progression towards that, of the chase or whatever you want to call it, but like the actual striving of to not the actual accomplishment of the goal, but the striving, the progression towards the goal. That's where the happiness comes from.
So is this some of the stuff you're investigating within yourself when you're going on your walks through the woods?
Yeah, dude. So like I got this journal exercise where I go, can I have it all? And then I'm like, yes, I answer the question. I'm like, what does all mean to me? And then I start mapping that out of what does all, having it all, mean to me, because that's going to be something completely different for you and the next person and so on. But I start just journaling and getting crystal clear detail of what exactly it is that I want and why that's important to me. And then, you know, now I can actually have something to aim at every time. But yeah, journal experiences, I do like that. And also like your best week ever, where I just map out, like if I were to have my best week ever, what would happen throughout that week? You know, and man, shit's powerful. You do that, and then like you do some meditation exercises and see that with the visualization aspect of it, and then you start chipping away towards it every single day. Powerful shit right there.
So what would be maybe some, you mentioned a couple questions. It sounds like you're asking yourself, do you have any like, as far as this process is concerned, any questions that are vital? You're talking about mapping out the week, asking yourself what you want. Like, what are these questions we should be looking inside to figure out what winning means to us?
Yeah, dude. Absolutely, dude. So I do this, I call it the identity review questions. And I do this at least once a quarter, every 90 days we do this. But sometimes, you know, when I do my weekly reflection and stuff, sometimes I'll go through this process too, just to make sure everything's still aligned. But the questions that I go through is like, am I currently the most alpha version of myself? And for me, the question that recently has been no, because I know there's some things that I can do to really, which is like doing this this MDMA assisted therapy or assisted psychotherapy treatments to heal traumas. I know that's the way to get to the most alpha version of myself. But anyways, I'm sorry going on tangent. Next, I ask, who do I want to become? Notice I'm asking, who do I want to become before I even try to say what's my why? That's like, dude, like I can't stand that book. Like it's a great book, but the title of it, Start With Why. To everybody's, dude, you can't fucking start with why. How can you know why something's important to you if you don't even know who the fuck you are in the first place? You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm like, who do I want to become? That's the second question. I'm like, yeah, this is who I want to become, the identity. Because we're always gonna, just like that quote by Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Whatever your identity is, your self-image, whatever you want to call it, whatever that is, that's what's going to be your reality in life. If you believe that you're a loser and that you'll never be able to do this, whatever, you're literally going to run that program throughout your entire life until you switch the identity. But anyways, I'm quit harping on that. Third question, I'm going to say, what do I want? All right, so now this is who I am. Now, what exactly do I want? And I start mapping out exactly what it is that I want. Fourth question I ask, why is that important to me? And I'll try to go 3 levels deep, because you know that surface level answer is not really, it's just a surface level. I try to go, but why? Go deeper, and get to that core. And then finally, this is really important. What do I need to do every day to become that person? So you shape and form the identity, right? And you get crystal clear. Like, so for me, I'm going to give an example. For my health, my identity for health, 210 pounds, 10% body fat, 6-pack abs, optimal health. Very clear, very clear. You could, I could see that image, 210 pounds, 10% body fat, 6-pack abs, optimal health. Like, I could feel what that feels like, taste it, smell it, all that good stuff. So I've identified as that person, right? Now that's the identity. But what do I got to do every day to become that person? What are the daily habits I got to do? I got to eat a healthy meal. I got to work out 5 to 6 times a week. I got to do all these different things, right, in order to become. So the process is identify, behave, become. So you identify who it is you want to be, then you do the things that person does every single day, and over time you become that person. And so every single day, if you're checking off those daily action items, you're reinforcing that identity until it becomes who you are. I know that was kind of long-winded, but that's
no, man. That's a process-oriented question. So I love hearing what people's processes are. Like, how did you arrive to that place of really understanding like what winning means to you, rather than just going with what other people are doing and following it just because you haven't maybe done the investigating or gone within to ask yourself these types of questions. And that takes time and it takes energy. And sometimes that stuff is easy to brush to the side because we get wrapped up in all the busy work, right? The hustle, the grind. What would you say are some of the fundamental skill sets that you've developed over the years, in terms of like business skills or even marketing skills, sales skills? Like, you, even when I asked you that question earlier, you stepped back and you said, what do you mean by that exactly? Which is very consultative, right? So I could connect that to a sales skill. Like, you wanted to make sure before you gave an answer that you knew what the question was about. So I try to, watch people, see how they move, what they say, and why they do what they do. So what do you feel are some of maybe the fundamental skill sets you've developed through the years?
Yeah, fundamentals, man, are everything. Communication. That's dude. So the number one skill that you can develop in anything in life is human behavior, understanding human behavior. If you really understand human behavior, you're constantly sharpening that skill set, dude. You can get whatever it is you need in life, because everything has to do with humans. And so you understand what makes people tick and what are people really want, and what, persuasion, all these things, it's going to serve you well. So yeah, human behavior, communication, that's a huge one. And then like some more specific stuff would be like copywriting, bro. Like, that's a really important skill to have. You learn how to sell through written word, and that translates also into, into written or to spoken whenever you're talking to people or whatnot. That's another valuable skill set. Dude, just doing this right here, what we're doing right now. Like, if you go on podcasts or you interview people, like, that skill set is gonna serve you so well. Like, you'll notice people giving you compliments because you're such a good conversationalist, because you've been doing this for so long and having these conversations. And I can't tell you how much it's empowered me, just speaking in normal one-on-one conversations, or within a group, or speaking to people on stage, or through video. I developed a lot of those skill sets by doing this right here.
That's part of the underlining reason why. I mean, like we were talking about, like, we weren't even really thinking about podcasting, but here you are, you did it. I'm in the process of starting it. But underneath, I wanted to address that. I wanted to be a better communicator. And I was like, dude, if I put myself in that seat and I show up, what's going to come of that? Well, I could quit and say, yeah, it's not for me. Or I could keep practicing and maybe develop that side of myself, because I haven't felt like a big conversationalist. Like, the world I came from, as far as drugs and all of that shit, like, you don't talk to nobody. You just talk to your little circle, and the only other people I talked to were people who wanted to buy something. Really simple. but I never had to develop that side of myself, especially living in a smaller town. So I'm so glad you talked about communication and then using the podcast as a tool to even help you improve going further with that. But goddamn, bro, copywriting, this keeps coming up, dude. Like that shit is so gnarly to me. Like I'll be honest, I have not taken the time to sit down and get good at that. It just seems so hard. What was that like for you? Like learning how to write copy?
Yeah, it is hard. It is very hard. Just like almost everything else that you try to learn for the first time, it's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's going to be stuff that's just like right up your alley as far as your strengths, and you'd be pretty good your first time. But even then, if you zoom out and fast forward to 1,000 times later, you'll notice that you're a lot better after 1,000 reps than you were with that first rep. So the point being is you're going to start and you're going to get better. And most of the time when you first start, you're going to suck. But yeah, man, the copywriting, bro, I highly recommend it, bro. It's literally the skill that finally allowed me to break through and actually start making money online.
Mm-hmm.
It's super powerful to understand, the concepts of, why people will buy stuff, and what will get them to be like, yes, I need this, let me pull out my credit card. And it's super powerful. But what I'd recommend is there's this book. It costs $300 on Amazon. It's worth way more than that, but you can get it at breakthroughadvertisingbook.com. It's called Breakthrough Advertising. It's written by Eugene Schwartz. It was written in the 1960s. It's the only book you would ever need to read on marketing, period. It is the holy grail. Any copywriter will tell you the same thing. But check it out though, man. The book, it's just nothing but fire the whole time. There's no like story. He just gives you straight tactical how-to advice, and it's so dense with just tactical how-to throughout the entire thing that it can be super overwhelming. But man, it is bomb, dude. And if you just study that book and then apply those principles that you read in there, it's powerful. So like one of the biggest lessons that he talks about is like, you'll see a lot of amateur marketers. Well, they'll get this idea for a product or service and they'll think it's the hottest thing since sliced bread, right? And then they go out and they try to convince people that it's the hottest thing since sliced bread and try to make people desire their product and service. And then they fall flat and don't do it. And that's because they're doing it the wrong way. You can't go out and create desire. You can't make people desire your product. You just can't. What professionals do is they do the market research and they find what the market already desires, what they already want. And then they make a product and service that fits that desire and channels that desire through their product. So
God damn it.
Just little shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that right then and there what I just said right there is like a marketing gold nugget. Like to know that, hey, you can't make people want shit. You got to find what they want and then give it to them. That's golden rule of marketing.
God damn, that book sounds deep already, and I haven't even read a page of it. So I got to be honest, I stole one of your questions. At least I think, based on my memory, this is how the question went, and I want to flip it back to you, my man. So I know we got to wrap up here in about 5 minutes or so. I figure why not? This is the time to go in here. What's been your most recent epiphany, aha moment, or lesson learned?
Most recent aha epiphany, lesson learned. That most of that like when me and my wife, like whenever we argue or whenever like I'm upset because like I don't feel like she's growing fast enough or is committed to growth as much as I am or whatever, all of that, it's really just me projecting my own shit onto her. And that goes with anything else, that whenever I'm pissed or whatever, it's just me project. It's crazy, but I'm starting to really I got taught this lesson in prison that no matter whatever happens to you in life, it's your own fucking fault, and you can make it better, and you can make it worse, but everything's your fault. I'm even going to the next level. It's like everything that I'm dissatisfied with in life, or anything that's wrong in my life, it's looking within. It's always looking within. If you can understand that, because that's hard to do. If you can understand that and truly live that, dude, you're going to be powerful than 99% of the population, because most of the population is going around blaming other people for their problems. But it's always something to do within. And yeah, that's been the biggest nugget or whatever since to recent memory.
Oh, I love that, dude. That is incredible. What popped into my mind when you were saying that was extreme ownership, taking full responsibility, looking inward.
Power in that, dude. Nothing but power.
Yeah, man. Pointing fingers has done more damage to me and the other people around me when I was unable to look within than anything I know, dude. I don't want to repeat that cycle. I'm going to ask you a real selfish question, and then I want to get into like the final wrap-up question, and then we'll be on to the next thing. And this is kind of future tripping for me, but like, so if I'm working full-time, I'm running this podcast by myself, I'm doing that. I feel like I have 2 full-time jobs. But as I keep going, if I stick to it, when do I know it's time to outsource and start getting some help?
Ooh, I love that question, man. The time to outsource and get some help was yesterday. But
fuck, dude.
No, I'm just fucking with you, man. I did, dude. I started off and did it all myself, too. So, but the time is whenever you, as soon as you can, as soon as you have enough money coming in to hire someone to help, dude, like for me personally, dude, I was more happy to like take way less money, like to spend myself and bring on somebody else to help and have my time and sanity and peace of mind than it was about keeping it. But yeah, as soon as you got enough money to where you can hire someone, and where I would start, like if you're like just like look for like a VA, like a VA that you can find in the Philippines. You can end up paying them like $5 an hour or something to edit your shows and do show notes and all that stuff. And that's very cost effective for you, and it's very generous for them. Like, dude, $5 an hour is good money for people in the Philippines. You know what I mean? $2,000 a month, you're living like in a mansion and like a king's life. You know what I mean, over there. So that's good stuff. But I'd start somewhere there though. But as soon as you can afford it, man, the sooner the better.
Okay. Duly noted. Peace of mind is really important. And the way I'm going at it right now, it ain't going to be sustainable. That's for sure. I got to be able to have a little more peace of mind. So let's talk vision before we hop off. I actually wanted to talk about it earlier, but before we do go, vision, bro. Like, where are we headed? Where are we going? 4 years, 5 years, 20 years from now?
Yep, 5 years from now, New York Times best-selling author of Alpha Underdog. I'm going to be launching that through Tucker Max and his company Scribe, same company that wrote David Goggins' book. I'm going to drop $40K on that deal. Go big, go hard, or go home. You know what I'm saying? I don't want just the Amazon bestseller. I want a New York. I want to go, the real deal, Holyfield. That book is going to propel me into doing speaking engagements, 20K to 100K per speaking engagement. My whole family's going to come and see me kill it on stage like I always do. And then I'll get to go hiking with them in the nearby nature, whether we're in the mountains or by the ocean or in the woods, wherever, somewhere outdoorsy. We'll go do that after I kill the stage. And that's how I want to spend like the next 15-ish years of my life while my kids are still young. They want to see me doing that. 20 years, 9% recidivism rate or lower in the U.S., achieved through the Convicted Life podcast and everything that we build with that. My kids raised knowing that no matter what, I love them no matter what, I got their back no matter what, and I believe in them no matter what. All my kids know those 3 things no matter what, and they go on and are chasing their dreams and living their best lives because they're going after their dreams and they're not giving up like most people. And then finally, before I die, as I'm dying, I don't die from like some disease or nothing. It's just from old age, a peaceful, happy death. Accomplished, had an incredible life, and I'm able to say my goodbyes to everyone, and I die peacefully in my sleep. Dude, I can go on and on. Like, I'm crystal clear on every aspect, but that's like the high level picture.
I can tell, dude. Feels like you just literally painted a picture for us. It felt good listening to it, man.
Right on,
I
man.
wish nothing but that for you. So real quick, what do you wish someone would have told you, or what do you wish you would have known before you started this entrepreneurial journey?
So many.
You can give me the cliff note on this. We got 60 seconds, baby.
So many, because there's so many different things, right?
Just one.
Just one. That you've already done the hardest shit you've ever done in your life. Like, entrepreneurship ain't gonna take you through nothing that you can't handle. It's gonna be a lot harder though than what you expected, and it's gonna take a lot longer than what you thought, but it's gonna be worth it way more than what you began to think with. And focus on not trying to hurry up and rush the process, but focus truly on mastering true valuable skills that the marketplace wants and needs, and developing high character in the process.
Wow. Beautiful, dude. Thank you so much. Folks, that is a wrap. Zach, thanks so much for joining us, man. You are an inspiration. Like I said earlier, you are like a beacon of light, man, especially for folks like me starting over, just getting started, who feel like they've also been to hell and back. So thanks for being that light. This has been a phenomenal show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on your show, man. You're a kick-ass host, man, and I had a blast, dude.
That's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review, hit the old like button, subscribe, and share the show with everyone you know. If you'd like to go on the Vision Hunters journey together, you can find me over on Instagram at the Vision Hunters Podcast, or at Cody Allen Story, CODYALANSTOREY. Once again, welcome to the Vision Hunters Podcast. I'm Cody Story. Peace out.